Welcome to the Goodwood Festival of Speed and welcome to my second Michelin mission of this year. That's right, as the title would suggest, we've got the first drive in the all-new Koenigsegg Regera. Stats of this thing. We're looking at 1,479 brake horsepower, and that power, 1,160 brake horsepower, is from the engine alone. So you might be wondering where the other power is coming from. Well, this thing has 3 electric motors. There's one directly on the drive shaft and 2 at the rear wheels. Now it's powered by a 5-litre V8, which is from the Regera RS. But with the 3 hybrid motors, it has the combined power of 1,479 brake horsepower. So each rear wheel has its own electric motor and another directly on the crank, which is actually used to recharge the battery and operate as a starter motor. But that single electric motor develops more power than your average hot hatch at 240 horsepower, while the other 2 motors on the rear wheels generate a combined 440 brake horsepower. So that's just shy of 700 horsepower just from the electric motors alone. So to give that a spot of context, that's more than an entire Tesla. One of the really unique things about the car is single drive gearbox that powers all of this incredible machine. All I know is it's able to channel all of that torque through the rear wheels alone, and we're about to experience what that thing's like firsthand. Let's hit it. Okay, while we are waiting to go up the hill, we're conveniently sat behind an Regera RS. Now, the significance of that is it recently set the production car land speed record of 277 miles an hour. Now, I always say, for all of the technology, fabulous chassis, all of the carbon fiber, all of the just engineering that goes into these cars, they ultimately go through pieces of contact patch rubber on the tarmac about that big. It gets channeled through these Michelin tyres. The significant point that I'm making here is that you'd be forgiven for thinking that Michelin developed a specific tyre for the Koenigsegg. But no, you can go online and order yourself a set of Pilot Sport Cup 2s, and if you find yourself around the Koenigsegg Regera RS or even the Regera, you can slap a set on and do a production car land speed record from off-the-shelf tyres. Like, how absurd is that? It's just an amazing collaboration of engineering from both Koenigsegg side and Michelin side, and to get the opportunity to drive their very latest car on, actually I think today, amazingly, we are on Michelin's PS4S tyres, which I drove back last year in Thermal Raceway. That was in an M4. Today we're in a car where I think the exhaust tip is 3D printed from titanium that's worth more than an entire M4. But still, similar tyre, similar compound. We're going to get on this hot sticky asphalt and see you at the top for what is undoubtedly going to be a ridiculous ride. This thing puts power to pavement shortly. This is unbelievable. The attention that this thing's getting is crackers. The torque's nuts. So the technology from the EV side of things is actually derived from Formula One. So it has F1 EV technology behind us. But that single drive is incredible. We have 2 paddles here, which instinctively, from someone who's been driving normal supercars for the last God knows how many years, you've got 2 paddles in front of you. You instinctively want to pull them to go up or down a gear. They're only there to go into neutral, reverse, or forward drive. So once you've set off, you have to get into your head that this is single gear, linear drive, around about 1,500 horsepower and 1,500 pounds-feet of torque through the rear tires alone. I'm looking at my co-driver who's very conveniently holding the camera for me, and we're both in disbelief. So we're gonna queue up. I mean, the cars in front of us are incredible. We'll share those with you shortly. Yeah, let's do this. This is gonna be what's known as a ride of a lifetime. Are you ready? Dude, we're going. Off we go. The single gear is crazy. The single gear is so crazy. The top. Woo, it's like the craziest, most powerful torque I've ever seen. Oh my god. The speed is insane. I am feathering this throttle. Absolutely feathering it. It's absolutely sensational experience. The crowd is huge. Look at the crowd. Have you heard it? Wow! I'm going to slow down by the Flint wall because this is not my car and it's about £2.5 million. Good God, what an honour. Here we go. Over the finish line. Try one more straight line first. Good Lord. Well, just like that it was over. And I guess it should be with speed like that. What a monumental honour and experience to have the first drive in this car. We're going to park up behind the other Koenigsegg. Okay, I don't care about the helmet hair, and I don't think you do either. Where do I start with that? World's first single-geared hypercar. It's unlike anything. I love the Festival of Speed, it's so good. Linear pull. I'm trying to think if there's anything I've driven that compares to that kind of acceleration. Maybe when I take off in an airplane, really, but then some. And there's so much available on tap. I was taking it respectfully swift, I would say. We weren't going ballistic, but without trying too hard. It's the fastest I've ever driven up that hill with very little effort. It's all about the torque. I know I say this over and over again. So horsepower is revs, but the thing that you feel that slams you into the back of your seat, rearranges your organs and opens your eyes out wide, that is torque, that's twisting effort. 1,500 pounds-feet. We're normally used to saying these things in Newton meters. It's closer to 2,000 Newton meters of torque for those of you guys who operate in that metric. I didn't digest the thesaurus that I should have done to help convey the reality of how special this thing is. It's special to look at, it's special to hear, it's special to drive. It's special, and I'm honored. So I'm gonna step back a bit, try and come up with a few more words and insights, and then on the way back down we may have another chinwag about the experiences that come to mind. I'm just gonna have a breather. So there's actually 3 electric motors on this car that contribute to that incredible 1,500 horsepower. As a result, and in the true nature of Koenigsegg, the amount of details and information that you can get on the systems on this car is incredible. So we've got the central electric motor temperature. So central electric motor, there's 3 motors. The back, left and right wheels have their own motors, and then the central drivetrain on this single gear drivetrain has its own motor. So you've got central electric motor temperatures and left and right motor temperatures. The combined power of those 3 is 700 horsepower. And then you've got battery pack voltage, the cell temperature, the rear axle temperature, torque converter temperature. This is much more like we're in some sort of aviation technology than we are in a car. It really is something to behold and to witness it and feel how effortlessly it puts all of this technology, even to read about it and to digest it several times, it's complicated to get your brain around it. But what's very special is that when you just want to simply make this thing drive, it is so seamless and effortless. I think that is the trick from Koenigsegg is making something so incredibly complex just so usable. Very impressed so far. I also want to introduce you to something special. Do you remember when I took my Speciale to Dubai? I took it to MVN Motorworks. Well, this first drive is also helped out by these guys. There's some big projects coming in the works with those guys, which I shall unfold soon. But it's wicked to be seeing them over here, all the way over from Dubai. Provided some pretty awesome protection and made this thing look so good for this drive. And there's some really big news coming with that I shall share with you in the coming weeks or months. But keep an eye out because I'm very excited about it. But nothing more exciting than driving the Regera up the hill for the first time. Okay, so welcome back to the Koenigsegg Regera. I've tried my best to explain to you the technical tour de force that this incredible machine is, but there is nobody better positioned to give you guys a further insight into this incredible machine than Christian von Koenigsegg himself. Pleasure to see you again.
Likewise, good to see you.
So I've just been out in this car. One thing I'd love to ask is, what was the starting point to think we need a single geared car?
So I've been driving EVs since 2012.
Okay.
And a pretty powerful one since 13. I got my first P8 Model S P85 Plus in 2013, and then my P85D ludicrous Tesla in 14. And I realized that the rush of direct feedback from input with no delay of shifting or gasping or turbo delay or whatever, you just go and you can overtake in an instant is very enthralling and is much more exciting and efficient than the fun of shifting gears. And I was just then kind of thinking for years, how can I combine this behavior with the DNA of a Koenigsegg, with the technology we have, the lightness we need to achieve, because an EV is inherently heavy nowadays. I mean, maybe they will become lighter eventually, but nowadays they're heavy. And after like 1.5 years of thinking, an idea crystallized that I threw at my engineering team. They shook their heads first, and eventually, maybe it will work, you know. And here we are. And you just experienced, and I haven't even heard what you think of it yet, but it does give you that directness, that rush of immediate power, but with a roar, but a roar that is kind of connected to the propulsion and the progression of the car, which a CVT transmission does not allow. But that's it. So let's hear what you think then.
So fascinating that you started with the idea when you were driving a Tesla, because somebody, when I was on the Michelin stand earlier, they asked me how was it, and I said, imagine the linear pull of a Tesla with the force of a V8 behind it. I mean that's kind of one way of it, but in order to really convey that force that this thing gives you, I've never driven anything quite like it, particularly with, in my vision, I've got paddles,
right,
but you don't need to pull them.
Not necessarily, unless you are in lockup mode and you don't want to kind of kick downshift, you want to prepare yourself, you can use them. It's more for fun than need.
Yes.
Let's put it like that.
How long did it take you for the relationship between the hybrid, the V8 and the single drivetrain take? Because when you drive it, it feels simple, but the art of simple is very difficult.
That's it. So in one way it's simple because it's few components, but then you have the interaction of combustion, torque conversion, direct drive, electrical motors, and
it's nuts, dude. It's nuts.
And it actually it was easy to get to start driving.
Okay.
But it took a long time to refine it.
I can imagine. Has the single drive helped with coping with? So it's just shy of 1500 horsepower.
Yes.
And just shy of 1500 pounds-feet of torque.
It's 2000 Newton meters of torque. So it is. I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay. Has having direct drive helped deal with those kinds of forces?
Definitely, definitely, because you have no jerkiness.
Of course.
So if you have a lot of torque and power, and then you have the slamming of shifting,
Cogs and things,
you kind of get duplication of torque.
Sure.
And shock loads. There are no shock loads here. It's just smooth progression.
When I got to the top of the hill, I likened it as if there was a massive magnet at the top, drawing me up the hill.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's a pulling sensation.
It really is.
It's something sucking you in. It's like there's a vacuum in front of the car.
It's just like that. It's so strange. We've just discussed the crazy power, both horsepower and torque. How did the tires deal with that?
So first of all, let's say the suspension, the shock absorber, the active shock absorbers, the active ride height, the active bump and rebound, the long wishbones, all of this are derivatives from the previous programs we do. And what we have learned over the years is how to put power to the ground, as we've had so much power on one axle. And it's a testament that our customers come back to us and say, we can't believe the amount of power we can put to the ground through two wheels. So we're doing our let's say our job well there, but it couldn't be done without the help of Michelin, because everything goes, whatever we do between us and the ground, we have Michelin.
I guess your contact patch, as big as those tires are, it's still, compared to the amount of power going through them, the contact patch is still quite small. It is,
but it's shocking the amount of power you can put through two wheels if you really kind of put your mind to it.
I was amazed driving up that hill. Honestly, I was 30% throttle, and it was quick enough. Like, it was unbelievable. And every now and again I thought, there's so much more grip here. I gave it a bit more of a stamp. Not a slip, not a squirm, not a light on the dash. It just kind of squats and goes. It's an incredible feeling.
And that's important that you say that.
Yeah.
It does squat a little bit, and that's the key to traction with two-wheel drive. I had a race driver saying, ooh, it moves around much more than my GT3 race car. Well, on your GT3 race car, you have 600 horsepower and slicks.
For sure.
Here we have road tires and 1500 horsepower. It needs to move a little bit. It needs to sit down and squeeze
that weight
the
over the
tire.
back.
Exactly. It's not a race car, it's a road car.
Exactly. No, it's an amazing thing. I heard that you managed to do your production car land speed record on, were they just stock tires?
Completely stock, off the shelf.
That's ridiculous.
And they didn't even care about it.
Isn't that incredible?
It's amazing. I mean, our cars are light, they're lean on the tires. And then Michelin just does a wonderful job, you know.
Fabulous. I've driven a fair share of cars in my time. I've never driven anything that felt quite like this. And it is hard to put it into words. It's very hard. I don't really know how to explain it, but the first thing that came out of my mouth when the first person asked me was, it's like the linear pull of a Tesla or an electric car with an incredible V8 combined with that. I mean, if that isn't the recipe for awesomeness, I don't know what is, man. Like, top work. It's an honor. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
I'm glad you made it. I'm glad you seem to have enjoyed it.
It's been fantastic. I'm under the impression that this is a very early car.
It is. It's one of the first ones.
First cars. So to be able to have the opportunity to drive this at such an iconic event is a real honor. So thank you so much, and congratulations on a very special car.
Thank you.